Hello, all. My name is Shaniqua Bernard, and today we will be going over my case study, which I entitled A Matter of Interest Apple and U.S. Book Publishers Negotiation. I do apologize in advance if you can hardly hear me or if I sound like Squidward from SpongeBob. I am battling a sinus infection. It's getting a lot better. We're going to get through this and we're going to have some fun doing so. We're going to go ahead and start off with the problem of what was being negotiated. So, in January 2010, the U.S. book publishers negotiated a business model for e-book pricing with Apple. This, of course, was due to the fact Apple was in the process of releasing the iPad. The U.S. book publishers involved were Simon and Amp, Schweitzer, Hachette Book Group, Penguin Group, Macmillan, and HarperCollins. The interests of Apple Inc. and U.S. book publishers. Of course, Apple's interest was to stream the content on the new iPad and to also generate revenue. Of course, we knew that Apple already had its competitor Amazon, who had content of ebooks online as well. So coming out with the new iPad to be able to stream or provide the ebook service was of the utmost importance because up until this moment, Amazon was receiving all of the funds for ebooks. Of course, U.S. book publishers, of course, who had been working with Amazon as well, wanted to have another platform to receive revenue from. So, of course, they wanted their interest was to receive 70% of the sales commission. Of course, the position of Apple was that it was required that they receive 30% of the sales commission. And the position of the U.S. book publishers was that the U.S. book publishers required that they would set the prices of the ebook and receive 70% of sales commission. Now, I really want you all to remember this because it's going to play a major role coming up later on throughout the presentation. So the first concept that we have set up was the mutual benefit that we spoke of in class. Now, when it came down to it, both Apple and U.S. book publishers wanted to receive compensation for this venture, and that was their main motivation. It came in on a win-win situation. Plain and simple, they had their terms out. They didn't want to do anything backhand or underhanded, at least towards each other. That's the key point. At least towards each other, they weren't trying to do anything backhanded. So please also keep that in mind as we continue to go on. But starting out, they wanted just a mutual benefit, and ending, they also wanted the mutual benefit. Going on, we go to our second concept was preventing negative emotions. And of course, when we speak of preventing the negative emotions, we're talking about respecting the other negotiator status, appreciating the other negotiator, creating a connection, and also giving the other negotiator autonomy. However, I wanted to focus specifically on respecting the other negotiator status. Now, you do have these large companies, corporations. You have Apple making well into the billions during this time. And you have these U.S. book publishers. Many of the names that you heard are actually book publishers for colleges and high schools, grade schools. So they both brought their own status to the table, but I feel more so with Apple getting into the sale of ebooks, they respected the status of the U.S. book publishers because they had already had joint venture with Amazon with ebook in the distribution. So I believe that was um, uh, a very big concept that I wanted to hit on as it came to the um, the relationship between the two negotiators, or I should say, between the negotiators of the parties. And the third concept that was hit, I believe, is game theory. Of course, game theory, going off the definition was received by Eric Miles, is a mathematical approach to real life situations involving two or more people, where each decision maker has a number of different actions available, and the ultimate outcome depends not only on your actions, but also the actions of all others. This forces you to think strategically and tactically. So I believe this concept played a major role in the decision that Apple actually agreed to the terms to have the U.S. book publishers to decide the pricing of these ebooks that were going out, and that played a major role in how the deal played out in the end. So what went well? Well, the actual agreement itself between the parties went well, and all the negotiators went well. Apple and U.S. book publishers agreed to each other's positions and terms. And going back, you know, Apple agreed, hey, we will take 30% of the commissions that you make, and the U.S. book publishers will receive 70% of the sales commission. As well, they were able to set the price for the ebooks. Now, what went wrong? Well, actually, what went wrong is that the deal took place in itself. All the negotiators were so caught up in the terms that they did not think of the legality of the agreement that was being set forth. And yes, yes, at the end of the day, the agreement was reached, but it wasn't legal. Um, and we're going to go into why that was the case. So, yes, the agreement was that, but many times in the midst of closing a deal, one negotiator or all negotiators involved neglect to consider that the agreement could affect outsiders and oversight with ethical and legal implications. This is exactly what went wrong in the negotiation. Um, Going down to the exact reason that it was a legal issue, it was found to be in a violation of regulations regulated to the retail price of electronic books. The complaints were submitted in accordance with the U.S. antitrust procedure. On July 10th, 2013, the U.S. District Judge by the name of Denise Cote ruled Apple was guilty of colluding with book publishers to raise prices on electronic books. And due to the success of the ebook market, I do see the opportunity to renegotiate deals, but I believe all negotiators will be more precautious with agreement legality ultimately in the end. So, thank you so much for your time and dealing with my sinus issues. It has been a pleasure, and I hope that you actually learned about a new case study that you did not know about before, and it provided some insight. Have a wonderful day.